If you run a trades or contracting business and you're busy, you're winning work, and on paper the business looks profitable, but your bank balance always feels lower than it should, this video is for you. I invest in UK-based contracting companies, which means every month I'm looking under the bonnet of dozens of businesses that look successful from the outside. They've got vans on the road, staff are busy on different sites, work booked into the diary, solid local reputation, but almost without exception, when I properly review the numbers, the same issues show up time and time again. The business is profitable on paper, but it's nearly always short of cash. There are no real systems holding the business together, and the owner is carrying far more stress than they should be for a business that appears to be doing well from the outside. So I'm making this video to really highlight the bottlenecks I see all the time as an investor, not to pass judgment, but so you can recognize them early in your business and have the opportunity to actually fix them. Because when you do, the business becomes an asset rather than a liability that you dread having to deal with every Sunday night and the fear of going to work the next day. I know we've all been there. So for context, I've started businesses, bought businesses, grown them, invested in them. I've even sold businesses. I've also helped turn around multiple companies that were on the verge of going bust, particularly contracting businesses. And I did this by implementing the same strategies that I use inside of my own portfolio companies. Currently a shareholder in multiple companies. Alongside investing, I work with a small number of owners to help them fix cash flow, increase profit margins, and systemize how they can actually win better work with better margins and better payment terms. And the reason I'm telling you all this is so you understand the lens I'm looking through and why I often see things very differently to the owners themselves or to business coaches who've never actually owned a business. We all know there's a few of them out there, right? When I'm asked to invest in a business, it's then my job to go and find the weak points, the risk, the cash flow gaps, the lack of systems. Profit looks okay on paper, but never seems to turn into real money in the bank that could be reinvested into the business or paid out as dividends to the shareholders, which is why I invest in the first place. It just disappears. So one of the first things I'll ask an owner is to show me their last year's profit on paper, on their P&L. And then I'll ask a second question that usually tells me everything I need to know. How much did you actually pay yourself that financial year in dividends? 9 times out of 10, guys, the dividend figure is a lot lower than the profit figure because the business might show a healthy profit, but the owner hasn't been able to extract anything close to that figure because the money's been absorbed by payment timings, rising overheads, and poor payment terms. And unfortunately, it's not bad luck. You can't put it down to bad luck. It's a lack of education around how cash actually works and flows through a growing business. And it exists because most contractors have never been taught how to run a business. They were taught how to do the work, how to do the contracting work, how to be on the tools, and how to keep customers happy. But no one's ever sat them down and explained how cash flow flows through a business or how overhead should be factored in when pricing in a job. So if this sounds familiar, it's not your fault. You never taught this stuff. So why would you be good at it? Which is the purpose of this YouTube channel and why I'm making this content. As businesses grow, costs rise, staff come on, and suddenly the margin for error just evaporates, it disappears. You're busier than ever, but the business feels harder to run and constantly short on cash. Always checking that business banking app to see if there's been a payment land. This is the point where working harder stops working. Structuring systems become essential, otherwise you just end up being a busy fool, chasing new work and hoping customers pay you on time, always stressing. Most owners reach out for help at this stage, not because they want to scale aggressively, but because they want the business to feel calmer, more predictable and have more of a grip on cash. They want to understand why there's never any money in the business bank account or why they didn't make the profit they expected when they quoted the job in the first place. The good news is most businesses are not miles away from fixing this. They're usually just missing a few key pieces, a few key systems. And with the right guidance, this stuff can be learned and implemented over 3 to 6 months. Once those pieces are in place, the change is huge. Not just in the business itself and the numbers, but in the owner. They start becoming a CEO rather than just owning a job. The bank balance stops dipping unexpectedly, payroll stops feeling stressful, and decisions become easier because they're made using data rather than just emotion and gut feeling. And that's the real benefit of knowing your numbers and having proper systems in your contracting or trades business. That's also the point where the business becomes investable because it becomes predictable. Not just to me as an investor, but to you as an owner who wants options and maybe wants to sell the business in the future. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because over the next few months, I'll be sharing everything I've learned about growing, fixing, investing, scaling, and selling companies. And if any of this feels a bit too close to home and you know you need to change the way you're running your contracting business, every week I give up a couple of hours of my time to help one or two business owners by doing a quick audit of their business with them on a call. I highlight the main bottlenecks I see using my experience from owning and investing in my own companies. And I just help them look to see where cash flow or profit's being constrained and what's stopping the business from feeling as stable and as predictable as it should really. But because I'm busy running my own portfolio companies, I only do one or two of these a week. So if that sounds useful, have a look in the description, see if there's any slots left for this week. And if there is, I'll see you on a call. And if not, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.